everyone, I'm Mr. Smith. It's Friday, Paraskevia, and today is the second video of our series of videos on Ჭამა, the verb to eat in Georgian. This time I'm including you to the table, so I want to know what you usually eat, what you're eating now, what you're going to eat, and so on, so that the dialogue feels a bit more dynamic. So if you're ready, let's go. Slide 1, just as a reminder and an introduction, let me explain the poster I made for Instagram. Here we can see in the middle, Racha, which reminds us of this strong R and this strong Ch that's in Georgian. Now, to achieve today's goal, which is to talk about Shen, I need to ask a lot of questions, meaning that the R, not only in Racha, is stronger than it is in English. Ratom, Ra, Ras, Ram, Rogor, Rogori, Romeli. Such a wide range, they all begin with R. Extra emphasis must be put on this sound, and Ჭამა needs the strong Ch. So I thought, where is the best place for me to double down on R and Ch? Maybe Racha, which contains simply those. So this is Racha in the Caucasionis Kedi, and it's Sakh'meli, obviously. And my question is for you, what did you eat in Racha? Ჭამე, rach'ashi. You get it? So this is just an explanation that questions are coming, emphasis must be made, but not to the sacrifice of the pronunciation factor, because the Ch and the R, we're going to need it as hard as possible for the duration of today's tutorial. Slide 2, and I have 4 questions for you. You are Georgi, and I have some answers from you, and I need to decide which one is the best answer in Georgian. So the first question is, Rashcham Georgi. Maybe I'm on the phone, I can hear you chewing. Rashcham Georgi. And you answer, I'm having my lunch, I'm eating mchadi. I'm eating my lunch. Or I'm eating khinkali. So 3 answers. Let's take a look at what was said. V'sadilob, mchads, v'cham. Me v'cham, chems, lunchs. Me v'cham, khinkali. Now, khinkali with an S is required, so C is definitely wrong. It needs to be khinkals to be right, and it's not. Me v'cham, chems, lunchs. I'm having my lunch. Sounds so English, looks really English, too English, not correct either. Although the word lunch, of course, because of the influence of English, is kind of there in Georgian, avoid it. Maybe in 20 years, you know, it doesn't seem to do as much as v'sadilob, which is I am having my lunch right now. It's a very good answer to the question. And then mchadi is the thing, mchads, v'cham, of course, doubling down on this ch sound, just says that A is correct. I'm having my lunch, mchadi is my lunch, and that's what you can hear me chewing. A. I see my friend Georgi after eating his mchadi, and he has a very, very, very strong smell of onion. So I'm like, Rashchamdi, what were you eating? Onion? And so here in my question, of course, with the S, we're speaking in the present, but I am asking what you were eating. Rashchamdi, Chachwi is chachs, because of course, again, live, what were you just eating? Kind of, that's why I'm asking. Onion, because I can smell it. And you answer 3 yeses. Ki me chachwi v'chamdi. Diach chachs v'chamdi. Ho chachwi chamdi. Now, which one is right? No S in C, definitely wrong. One thing to observe, no V in C, double wrong. Okay, here we have some critical errors, definitely a mistake. Ki me chachwi v'chamdi, almost right, but of course it is in the past, but it's not in the ergative. This is nominative chachwi, so A is also wrong. Diach chachs v'chamdi. Yes, I was eating onions. Next question. Dres rach'ame. Past. What have you eaten today? Not what are you eating now? That was the first question. Rascham. Now it's dres rach'ame. Shen. And I want you to tell me what you ate. Maybe also it's like, whew, stinky, you know, dres rach'ame. Like, what did you eat, you know, but what have you eaten? But of course, I'm not really expecting an answer from that one, but I suppose it could be translated like that too. But here's my list. Purs da lobians v'ch'ame. Puri da lobiani v'ch'ame. Matzons da mtzvads shevch'ame. Matzoni da mtzvadi shevch'ame. These are my answers. It sounds like I've eaten a lot. But which one indicates the ergative? And that means that B and D are the only correct options. By using the S as if it were the present, or by using the S as if it were the continuous past, I've made a mistake here. And so B and D are the correct answers. Question 4 is basically the same as question 3. However, I'm using ჭამე in the question. This doesn't need to be wrong, but it isn't strictly frequent enough to be right. But let's just put it here, just so you're aware. Dres rach'ame isn't necessarily a bad translation of what have you eaten today. And the answers given were dres araperi mich'amia. Dres arapers mich'amia. Dres dzariam bevrs v'ch'ame. And dres dzariam bevri puri v'ch'ame. Now, A and B say the same thing. I haven't eaten anything at all. Almost like in my whole life, I haven't eaten a snack. So, dres araperi mich'amia. Araperi in the ergative, we are talking in the past. A is correct. B is not. Giving us obviously that C, by that case, with the S is also wrong. Dres dzalian bevri puri v'ch'ame is the right answer. 3, I'd like to look at something from last week, just to show you that if you memorize this, which I think is quite a lot really, with me v'ch'am, adre v'ch'amdi, and so on, with all of these V's, if you remove the V, then you've automatically learned today shen, because that is the main difference. All of these have the V removed when it's shen. The V is the indicator of the first person. Without it, it's the second person. That sounds easy. And I suppose it means that you've kind of already learned this. So I'll just go through it one more time with another example. Shen cham, shen archam. You eat or you don't eat. You are eating or you are not eating. Here I put an example, shen mitzvads cham. That just means that you are eating mitzvadi right now. Remember, mitzvadi is a traditional dish. It's just barbecue meat on a skewer, often served with raw or roasted onion and then pomegranate. Shen chamdi, you were eating or you used to eat. Shecham, shen, you're going to eat. That's what we're saying here, and of course with the S here in the dative. Now, shechma is the other variant of ჭάμα as the name of the verb, just talking about eating up. In the ergative case becomes much more relevant. Shen mitzvadi shechame. You ate mitzvadi. You know what's really interesting is because shen mitzvadi shechame, and that's why I think you have onion breath, because it's kind of, they come together. But grammatically speaking, shen shechame, shen ჭame. No, not like I me shevchame and me v'chame. That's not what we have to learn today. Similarly, as we did last week, Კვება, changing it a bit, shen arajansari Saკვebit ikvebebi. Shen arajansari Saკვebit ikvebebi. Now, just remember that now we've gone from the ch emphasis to the k emphasis, because Კვება talks about how one feeds oneself, the process of eating in terms of nourishing. And the following slide will include some more words which blend the two, and they are within the environment of eating. Slide 4 illustrates my point, and I suppose the distance between the modern society that we live in, where we have lots of packaged and fabricated food, and then we've got food that is prepared just for you to enjoy, that is still one of the things I think that the definitions we have in modern English clash a little bit with the true definitions that they have in Georgian. But fundamentally, Saჭmeli is a finished meal for you to enjoy. Sakh'vebi are things that you would buy to make that meal, thereby being the ingredients, and the Saჭmeli is there to be eaten, right? So let's look at the example above. Qveli, cheese, da puri, bread, Საკვები, produktebia. Right? That makes sense. Მაგრამ rach'ashi, საჭმელია. Saჭმელია. That's the one that you're going to chew and eat and go through. So the products versus the meal. One is a meal in itself, the other one isn't a meal in itself. The English names or categories of food for us may not actually match 100%. We even need to rediscover what they really mean for us. But for Georgians, junk food, arajansari saჭmeli. Arajansari saჭmeli. That's junk food. Კვება is fast food. And sakh'meli are processed foods. In the direct translation here, they're half-fabricated food. These are words which will be used around the topic of cuisine that you will hear even at this level with the verbs that we've been practicing. And if anyone really does have a much better holistic understanding of why one is a saჭmeli, the other is a კვება, and the other one is a Sakh'vebi, please put your comment. I invite you to do so. Our final slide and some practice. We are in a dialogue, you and I, you're vegetarian, you've changed your eating habits, and I'm just commenting really about food. Here on the left, of course, is the same grammatical times as before in the same order. And so, Shen, do you eat matzoni every day? And you tell me your answer. Chem cham. Are you eating my chinkali? Chem cham. Are you eating my chinkali right now? Chortz chomar ჭამა რა. Chortz chomar ჭამა რა. You don't eat meat, am I right? And I suppose in this dialogue, I just wanted to show that some chinkali contain meat or not. So if you're eating mine, just be aware that mine are not vegetarian. And I guess that's kind of how I wanted this dialogue to appear. Yesterday, a little bit of a different dialogue, but gushin ramit bevrus ჭამდი. You ate so much yesterday. You really enjoyed the food. Adre bevr khors ჭამდი არა. You used to eat a lot of meat when you were a meat eater. Adre bevr khorts ჭამდი არა. Ahra agar khorts ჭამ. You don't eat meat at all anymore, but you used to, and that's what I remember. Okay, so let's go to another question. You look ill. You don't look good. You have a bad stomach, and I'm like, rach'ame gushin. What did you eat yesterday? Or maybe it's just an open question. Rach'ame gushin. What did you eat yesterday? Gushin chinkali ჭამე. Did you eat loads of chinkali yesterday? Maybe I want to say that you ate lots of chinkali and you didn't know that some of them were not vegetarian, and I don't know whether I should tell you. And maybe your bad stomach is because you haven't eaten meat in ages and you shouldn't have been eating mine. I don't know. It's not really a real situation, but you can see where I'm going with this dialogue. There is flesh and bone now that we can start to talk about food together. Chval pirvelad shecham chinkals. Tomorrow, you're going to eat chinkali for the very first time. Chval pirvelad shecham chinkals. You're welcome. That's the last slide of today, but logically not the last tutorial. Next week, we're talking about what he ate and what she ate and what the Prime Minister ate and what the dog ate or didn't eat and so on. It sounds a bit like we're gossiping, and maybe we are, but we'll deal with that next week. So have a nice weekend and I'll see you then. Bye.